So coming to the design side of the fence, I know for Hatch, MicroStation and OpenPlant have been part of your success story for many years. But can you tell us, and maybe this is for Andrew and Jared, to how you established your CAD workflows to guarantee the deliverables are generated right, and you're able to create the project deliverables.
Sure, I'll have a first crack, Andrew, if that's okay.
Sure.
So as you said of us, we're big Bentley users in the plant space. So we're fundamentally use all of your plant process tools, OpenPlant, Open Building Designer, and everything that compels building that data set up. So Andrew said it before, we pride ourselves in taking a data-centric approach. So we've been your users back in, prior to XM days and taking component-based work processes as part of our core execution philosophies. So, using the latest technology, it's in essence similar workflows, but leveraging the latest technology. So OpenPlant and the plant site module allows us to achieve those similar component-based design workflows where we use the R-Twin as our core source, our data-centric repository. That, like I've said before, enables us to do design reviews from the same source. It enables us to report from the same source, and it allows us to derive and generate our deliverables from the same source. We're obviously on a digital transformation initiative, so we're trying to cut back on producing conventional deliverables. But at the end of the day, the messaging is still the same to the downstream consumers, right? Whether they be fabricators or constructors. We've used your design authoring tools to produce that in a data-centric manner, that produce those data sets in a data-centric manner, and then produce our deliverables and data downstream from that, and have our consumers be able to consume that from the digital twin through the lens of web design review, through VR. And web design review isn't just 3D, right? So you can, like we said, we've related, using your plant site visualizer, 2D and 3D. So for an example of that would be an intelligent PNID. That tag exists on 2D as well as 3D, and those objects are related. So you can traverse through the data by following your way from a design review, looking at a pump, and you have some concerns. We can find all the related documents associated with it, and we can go and visualize that through the web or through our VR interface that we've developed. So again, we pride ourselves on the fact that we don't repurpose data or duplicate it. We leverage the R-Twin and digital solutions to take a federated data-centric approach. And then from that central repository, we can derive our deliverables from a document point of view. We can view our data. We can produce our deliverables. We can look at progress, and we can visualize all that. We can recontextualize that data set to go and, put a different lens on it, so we can make sure we're delivering in time. There's not certain aspects that are falling behind schedule, or a particular vendor's failed to deliver certified data, which is going to have a consequence somewhere else. We can leverage that data in design to ensure an amicable outcome for our clients. Andrew, anything to add?
Thanks, Jared. It was certainly a good description. I guess one of the other things to mention, Abbas, is over the years, we've been through numerous step changes in our project delivery, particularly around the design side. And each time we've done that, we really have not just looked at the technology, but we, I guess, focus on a system being the processes, the tools, and the people. And that's been always fairly important, that trying to plug in new tools to old processes is a recipe for failure. So ensuring that we go back and re-establish and re-understand re-baseline the actual processes and look at what the outcomes we are trying to achieve from all those various processes using the new tools. That's never been more on the forefront than what it is today with our digital project delivery program. But even in the past, in some of our work we've done, similarly ensuring that we're really focusing on the generation and the authoring of the content as opposed to the outputs being the drawings, etc. How do we make sure that we've got quality in the model and the right attribution in the model? Specifications and catalogues have been correctly defined and applied. So really looking at the model processes and the validation of the information in that model before we start producing deliverables. So really, where we do need to still produce deliverables, moving those to as far down the work process as possible, and really putting the effort into what is essentially the source of those drawings, being the 3D model. So we've established a lot of work processes around model checking, around data validation, using real-time reporting, even simple things like ensuring you use intelligent design reviews, where you can start to look at the data. You can run object sets and display sets, etc., to really look at and analyse the information that's in the model and make sure that the model itself, based on the Open Plant suite of tools and all the work that's been done, has the basics have been done correctly. So we've got a good foundation to then produce the deliverables at the end. So really, I guess that's been one of our major focuses around all the work we've done.
So, Andrew, what do you think is the biggest driver then for those deliverables to be accurate? Is it just in the past, has there just not have that level of accuracy? Is that one of the drivers, or is there any other drivers you see for this digital transformation?
Yeah, some of the things that we've seen, it's really an efficiency point of view, Dan, as well, is we've seen projects where people have used the model for nothing more than producing a nice picture. They've then extracted drawings and then gone and edited the drawings. So what we end up with from a data quality point of view is your drawing looks like one view of the world, but when you do material takeoffs or quantity takeoffs from the model, you're going to get a different representation of the design. So it's ensuring that entire data set, including the drawings that are produced effectively as a report, are absolutely 100% in alignment, because we're relying on the quantity takeoffs coming straight from the design, from those design models, is going to procurement, which ends up turning into materials in the field. The drawings are used by the contractors who are looking for those same materials. So making sure that there's a very high level of accuracy between the drawing they're building off and the materials that we've purchased is paramount, and the model is really the starting point of that process.
Okay. So now, it's great to hear the strategy this working out for Hatch, and the ability to validate the data before you actually generate deliverables, of course, is helping to save, time and cost in the checking phase, which typically would be done, with the paper and pen. But you hit on a very good point earlier about the people, processes, and tools part of your strategy and this transformation. So, and we have various users who are in different phases of establishing their digital twin strategy. Some are far along, probably you guys are very well advanced in that stage, but some users are establishing and starting to create their digital twin journey. So did you face any challenges? From the aspect of people's tools and processes, what were your challenges in establishing, overall digital processes?
It's a great question, Dan. It's interesting over the years, and never more than today, that the technology and the tools are not the limiting factor for the most part. Pretty much almost what anybody can dream of, you can achieve through some methods. It really the real I guess differentiator in moving forward is around the people side. It's addressing the cultural side of new systems and new processes, etc. Because people inherently don't like change. So it's really we've made sure that change management is a key tenet in our program. We've actually got change management experts. We've got a specialist team that we've employed who work on our projects, and they're engaging with the business every day, and making sure that they're building up a framework around the leadership side, looking for change agents, looking for those visionaries in the business that are really going to help drive the enthusiasm for the change. The other big thing that I guess has been important is, the bottom up versus top down approach. We've very much had to look at it from both ends. So the change management approach is very much looking at, how do you get the people across the entire business, from top to bottom, supporting and embracing the changes that you're trying to bring in, but also making sure that in our case the board is extremely positive and driving very hard the work we're doing. So the messaging from our CEO down right through all levels of the business is really there, which I think is a significant help in really pushing it. When people get onto a global teleconference and they hear our CEO espousing the benefits of what we're doing and why, it goes a long way to helping reinforce the message.
Thanks, Andrew. Kevin, I was going to say, do you see a similar thing in your industry from a digital transformation standpoint? Like getting on board with the digital twins?
Oh, we're way behind those guys.
Okay.
I mean, and the aspect and the reason I think a lot of it is, and Andrew hit a couple of different points on there, it is the people. And, our construction industry has been the same for 40, 50 years. And, we finally got some automated machine guidance where, the technology in the machines is catching up, where we can, feed our information in. And the scary part about it is I had my first job driven with machine control in the year 2000. That was 21 years ago, and it's still not quite the mainstream. I mean, a lot of the big contractors will have it and is their standard, but there's still problems in the process. And I know Andrew and Jared, their full blown process a lot of times was, as he mentioned, was driven by money. And in our particular case, I think the money stream is not as constant as theirs, because I think we run into a little bit of, the money is there, the contractor is there, but then once the contractor gets done, the contractor gets done, but then what? And then, where does that digital as-built go? Who handles it? Who does what? The money trail stops. Whereas I think in the plant space, it's all really being driven by, the plant operators and that sort of thing, and who owns the plant and so on. Where in our case, we have an engineer, we engineer, we design, we move to construction, we construct, we inspect, and then there's this thing that we're done with. And there's different money involved in all those different pieces. And I've asked many DOTs, well, what do you want to do with the data? And most of them don't know yet. And whereas, and the guys in the plant space, they know exactly what they want to do with it. They know that, their O&M is going to be, 10 times or 15 times or 20 times faster because they're able to track down the information they need to track down. Whereas, in our particular case, we're going to have, 45 light poles on the job. And there's an inspector that checks the box. Yep, 45 light poles. Yep, installed. Done. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. And that's the end of it. Whereas, the guys in the plant space and the people in the vertical space, okay, it's this light pole. It's on this circuit. It's this specification. It's this material. It's all of this information. But see, we in the horizontal industry, we can't do that because we're not allowed to spec that. So we have to spec all as equals. Okay, that's great. But then, okay, it's been constructed. But now it's time to, whose job is it to update the model during construction? Yes, I can go ahead and model the job. And yes, I know it's a light pole. But now at the end, whose job is it to go ahead and put in, hey, it's from Nina Foundry, it's such and such material and so on. Contractor's not getting paid to do that. Mm-hmm. The DOT needs to to step up and say, yes, I want all of that data. I want all of that information. And yes, I need you to update it. But then again, it's a money thing. Contractor's getting paid to build it. Yes, he orders it. And yes, he knows where it came from. But then the information dies on the vine because there's no next step, because they don't know they don't know exactly what they want to do with it. And that doesn't include that's not all 50 states, but I mean, there are some states that, they know exactly what they want. They want a GIS attributed database when they're done, and it's all geolocated and so on and so on. And then there's other ones that are like, yeah, I don't really know what I want because I don't know what I'm going to do with it afterwards. So yeah, the DOTs are just still trying to figure that out.
Okay. Do you think in 2, 5, 10 years from now that might change? You think?
I think it's
digital twin aspect?
Yeah, I think it's changing because the model-centric deliverables are becoming more and more prevalent. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have, model as the legal document in quite a few states. So that model-centric, model-based delivery, I think will force the digital twin, but then it also, I hope what it does is it forces the back end. Because, obviously we can model as engineers, let CAD be CAD, develop our 3D, get it into construction, help the contractor get his stuff done quicker. Mm-hmm. But then it's the next step. The next step of being able to maintain all of that data through the digital twin, updating the digital twin, getting the digital twin repushed and reprocessed or, updated with all of the constructed data and then delivered to the DOT. Then, like Jared and Andrew have done, is then they can start, building applications or having applications that just feed off of that data. And just the DOTs are just not there yet. But I don't know. I think as slow as things have gone, I'm hoping it's not another 10 years, but, it could very well be.
So definitely, I think different industries, the way the data moves or the requirements do vary, and I think that has the bearing on how the digital twins are utilized. But it's but like you said, I mean, it's moving along, and definitely most of the users are seeing the value in the use of the digital technology and digital twins.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.